What's good, everybody? How's the audio right now? Is everyone ready to rank some TORAM online classes? How are we feeling? Cause yeah, it's about to be a spectacle. I'll put it like that. Let me know how things are looking right now. I'm about to. Alright. We're back at a familiar screen, everyone. Background noises is all. I wish there was something I could do about that. Right now, I don't think there's much I could do about that. Well, let me see if there's some filters I can put. So the music audio is like not too loud. And everything sounds good, right? For the most part. Just gotta make sure, you know. All right. Just making sure. Okay. So, we got the same exact tier list format here. Just to explain some stuff in the stream, you know. I don't think this stream's gonna be long, but just to explain some stuff. The way that we're gonna do it is, you know, we got the tiers here, and if we need to, which we'll probably need to, we'll add or remove some tiers in the tier list. And it will be going from left to right, left being the best of that tier and right being the worst of that tier. How's it going? Sue 1 Thor? I'll just call you Thor, if that's fine. Good to see you, man. But we're gonna go in the order of what's in the tier list, and I will be providing some receipts based on some information that I have about the class, and I'll also go over, look at some footage, and just like look at, like I said, skill description spreadsheets. I'm gonna try to be more thorough with this because one thing that I didn't do in my last tier list, because it was just edited from a live stream, just like this one. One thing I didn't do in my last tier list was I didn't really show what I showed in the live stream. Can you just put two-hand sword and D right away? Alright. Actually, no. Hold up. I got you. Let me add another one. Add a row. Let me add a row below D tier. There you go. Nah, but on a serious note, two hands not too bad. So, two hands gonna rank probably a little bit better than what some of you might think. So I'm just gonna change the name of these tiers. This is gonna be SS. This is gonna be S. This is gonna be A. This is gonna be B. And then this is just gonna be F tier because we don't have any C tier classes now. I feel like the gap between the B tier classes and the F tier classes is pretty huge right now. So, SS tier. I don't think I really need to explain anything, but SS tier. By the way, what's good, critics? Good to see you. SS tier. I'm just gonna go in the order of the classes, actually. So, bare hand, right? You know, it's obviously F tier, but it's got some good things. And, you know, it's gonna get some balance changes this month. So, that's just gonna it's gonna be kind of put on hold for bare hand, but some of the stuff it has right now is already pretty good. I like to think of bare hand as like a premature tier 5 bow gun. So, and when I say that, I mean like the playstyle, pretty much. Replace Vanquisher with Soul Hunter, and then, you know, replace Twin Storm with just the normal auto attack from bare hand, and you know, you pretty much get the same playstyle. Let me elaborate actually. Where are the bare hand skills? Right here. So in bare hand we have this skill that boosts your auto attack damage. So I don't remember which one it is. This one is the, so it's probably, can't tell if it's Lion's Rage or, yep. So Lion's Rage more or less boosts your auto attack damage, and you become more or less an auto attack DPS. But the problem that bare hand suffers from is physical pierce. You don't have access to Devil Dango right now, which limits your damage a lot. You don't have access to sub weapons. You really don't have access to stability. Your stability is gonna kind of suck when you're bare hand. It's just gonna, you know, I actually don't understand this, but I guess, I don't know. I guess this kind of matters in the calculation as well. But you become an auto attack DPS. Auto attacks are pretty similar in damage to Twin Storm, maybe a little bit lower, because again, you don't have access to the physical pierce that Bowgun has access to, and you just don't have access to nearly the same stability as Bowgun right now. It's just, like I said, it's premature tier 5 Bowgun. Before we got the hunter skills or whatever, it's more or less just really, really, really bad. Like, but it's not like the worst. It's far from being the worst. So that's why it's an F tier. You know, I don't really need to explain any more than that. But if you do want to see like some gameplay of bare hand, one good example I can show you is my good friend Anywell on YouTube. He has a video of him soloing demonic, what was it, Venina 2 with bare hand, and it shows a lot of the potential that bare hand has in full, I would like to say. If there was a crying 2-hand emoji here, I'd use it. But honestly, like, it's not bad. Like, it's not bad. I don't think any classes in TORAM are bad. It's just, if we're talking right now, like, bare hand is just far below the others right now. But it doesn't need really a lot to be good. I'll put it like that. It just needs access to those crystals. It needs a stability buff, and for the most part, it looks like that's what it's gonna get later this month. So, you know, I have high hopes. I'm not really tripping. Anyway, let me put some music on. Hold up. Let me get some music. You guys will see a black screen for a moment. Let me play some music. I'm just gonna put this on the other monitor. I'm just gonna auto play and pray I don't get copyright blasted, but okay. What's good, Nimrod? But yeah, nah. Bare hand, this is more or less all it's got access to. It has access to obviously you can get the 10% physical pierce from backstab, but you can't get the 25 because no sub weapon. You can get access to dark power skills. You can gotcha the ninja skills. So it's not like all bad, but it's pretty bad. Moving on. We got Knuckle sub shield. Knuckle sub shield. I honestly want to put all the Knuckle classes in SS tier, but I think Knuckle sub shield and Knuckle sub dagger, I think dagger's better than shield. I think these two are the only of the Knuckles that like go in SS tier, just because the benefits are really, really high. Like with Knuckle sub shield, you just have really powerful crystals. You have really powerful shields. You have the Lollipop shield. You have Goldfish. I mean, like, you're chilling with sub shield. Like, I feel like the advantages of sub shield are far below sub dagger already, and it's still SS tier. So, I mean, needless to say, sub shield is really good. You have access to shield cannon. You have access to dual shields, which gives you some accuracy. You get more resistance with sub shield, and you're already really, really tanky with Knuckles. I don't think I need to elaborate there. It's pretty much the same as it was before in the old tier list. It's like really good. What about sub scroll? If you mean for bare hand, it loses access to the bare hand skills because they're main hand and sub weapon empty only. I guess that's how I guess that's how it works. I don't know if I don't think anyone's tested ninjutsu spirit to see like if you can get the fake two-handed thing, but that's more or less how bare hand works. But with Knuckles, yeah, you got Shadow Walk on dagger. You have Sicarius. You've got everything. I have my Knuckles build if you guys want to like watch that, but I'll show you some of what I'm talking about. 1 second, actually. If I tab here, I'll just show you this. You know, I'm just gonna mute this. Knuckles can't use sub scroll, unfortunately. If it could, I think sub scroll would be better than sub dagger. Because ninjutsu on Knuckles would be insane. Me patiently waiting for stabs. Stabs are probably gonna surprise you a little bit. Maybe not, I don't know. But yeah, sub dagger, it's really good. I recommend. You'll like it. Moving on. Knuckles is knocking out the park most of the time these days. You should really consider long time kill sustain like raid. Knuckles sucks there. Well, I mean, it depends on the playstyle because I also have like a long time run. That's a good point though. That is a good point. I have a run here against Quasar, which I don't think the run's long enough to really show the full extent of the playstyle, but like in a long run, its sustainability is good. It's just like the damage isn't non-stop like classes like halberd or bow, so that's kind of where it can fall a little bit short compared to like the other classes in long runs. But I think like its sustainability is fine in long runs. It just really depends because sub shield has a little bit less sustainability than sub dagger because you can't just use shadow walk to kind of fill in some DPS slots like you can with sub dagger. But like I think that because of it just being so tanky, because of the role that sub shield Knuckles plays, I mean it's kind of it kind of makes up for it. But the damage is high enough where I think the sustainability is excusable. But I do think it will lose to like bow and dual swords in those categories for sure. What's good, Zoro? Welcome to the stream. But yeah, more or less in long runs, it's mainly about, like Zenis said, sustainability. In long runs, it's kind of just like trying to keep your MP up and keep your damage flow as continuous as possible. Easiest way to do that is kind of like managing your skills and knowing that like skills like Soul Hunter, if you just let it stack while you're in Ashura and you use your other skills, when you turn Ashura off, you can just use Soul Hunter after you auto attack, obviously, so you can get the Ashura punches, regenerating your MP. Soul Hunter, it'll crit, and then it'll also give you some MP back, and you know, that's one sustainability band-aid right there. And you know, it's continuous damage, it keeps the damage flow going, vice versa. So, you know, that's a solution. But again, it's not gonna really compete with, you know, the classes like bow and dual swords. But I do think that it's an SS tier, like long runs, sustainability being its weaknesses, and they're not like huge weaknesses. Like that's huge. Budget wise, Knuckles is pretty good. You have NPC weapons you can use. They're not like very expensive either. You just have a lot of variety with Knuckles too, which matters. So I mean that's huge. Obviously, you know, sub magic device, sub arrow, and two-handed Knuckles, those are very, very good too, for a lot of the reasons that sub shield and sub dagger are. It's just, you know, the sub weapons here in these cases don't give you as much as these sub weapons do, like I said before. So those will go there, you know, for those reasons. And you know, we will rearrange, I think, in this order. Actually, honestly, I'm gonna put no, because it's just like I don't know. I don't know if I want two-handed Knuckles above or below sub arrow, because you get parabola with sub arrow. You also get access to cookie wings, which, you know, can make you do like a perfect like a non-graze build, and Parabola is already pretty solid on Knuckles. You might see a video about that pretty soon, sooner or later. I don't know, but like with two-handed Knuckles, it's just, sure, you don't get access to any sub-weapon benefits, but you do get access to, you know, you get access to the two-handed skill, which a little bit of extra crit rate, some extra stability, extra weapon attack. I don't know. If you're using like salmon jerky, that's really good. That's really good, but I don't know. I think the benefits for sub arrow outweigh the benefits for no sub weapon. So I'll just leave that like that for now, and later on I'll you know, touch on that. Katana sub scroll. Katana sub scroll. It's just gonna go in S tier. Astro Lamp 2 slot is coming this November. Oh, true. Yep. I'm looking forward to being able to get some more Astro Lamps to sell. I didn't keep the one I had because, you know, I kind of stopped playing staff, and I don't really play Magic Device as often as I would like to. And on Magic Device, I don't use Astro Lamp anyway, but I do think having an Astro Lamp would be pretty nice for Magic Warrior if it's gonna, you know, work how I think it's gonna work. But I digress there. Katana sub scroll. Obviously you have the normal katana skills, Shadowless Slash, you know, you have Tenryu, you have Garyu, Divine Slash, vice versa, you name it, and these skills are really good. You have iframes, but the problem with katana is time gated damage. So like as I add the other weapons here, you'll see katana's not very high in the S tier, but it is in the S tier. It made it. What's good, Mushroom? Welcome to the stream. Like I said, the big problem with katana is it's just not gonna perform well in like situations where you need that damage out fast. So like fast kills, bosses with like HP locks, situations like that where you are basically competing to do damage before other players. That's if that matters to you, something like that matters to you. It's not gonna perform very well there, but in long runs, it'll be probably one of the best classes. Like it's up there with bow, and I think it's better than dual swords, honestly, when it comes to long runs, because Tenryu, you have Dauntless, you know, in those long runs, it's gonna carry. It's gonna really carry. You'll see katana having like running really close to bow in guild raids. I don't think it beats bow, not anymore, but in those like long runs, it's gonna be up there. It's gonna be like really powerful. So, and you know, katana's just kind of like a lock pick for like difficult content too, because it's like, despite how difficult katana can be as a class, it's a really safe class. You should join raid when CZ is there. Bro, the raids are always like when I'm like at work. It's stupid ridiculous damage. Yeah, katana is really powerful in guild raids, and then I feel like katana gets like a boost all the time. And then like another like good thing about katana, you have like really cool weapons for like utility. Like you have the Modestia, you have Yatagarasu. Katana just has some of the best utility weapons in the game right now, and that also can help with, you know, the ranking of a class. You also have Sicarius, backstab, the backstab buff or whatever. You have all access to ninja skills. So you have Wind Release, which is a really good mobility skill, and it's also like a really good utility skill on its own. It's an iframe, and it also gives you unsheath buff, an unsheath buff on katana. So that's really helpful. It's got a lot. Like katana has a lot. Specifically sub scroll. Of course, normal katana two-handed without the scroll, it loses a lot. It loses that Sicarius buff. It loses those ninja skills. It's great for the reasons that I mentioned before, but it's just not. It's not S tier. It's not katana sub scroll. And like I said, I don't think sub scroll katana is gonna be very high in the S tier, but it made it. It made it for sure. Like I said, every weapon I think is good right now. Every class is good. It's just some classes got to be better than the others. And if we're looking at things right now, this is just kind of where I think stuff is for now. Sub dagger katana, it's not. I seen Hevon play it, which changed my mind about a lot of stuff from my last tier list video. It's not bad. It's just kind of like, I don't know. I don't feel like there's a lot of reasons to play it over sub scroll, because you have access to the same things. You're in 2023. You're not using dagger skills on katana. Like, you're not seriously doing that. Who's seriously using any dagger skills on katana right now in 2023? Let's be real with ourselves for a moment. All good, depends on your item. Got that buff versus long fights, right? Yeah, Dauntless is really, really powerful. And Dauntless helps in like every category for katana, so like there's that. I will like the redeeming quality of sub dagger katana obviously is you still get the Sicarius buff. You still get access to like the assassin skills in general. You can play really tanky. You can play like a really high dodge build, but you can also do that with sub scroll. One weakness of katana that God Dragon pointed out to me, which is why I'm not ranking it higher, because I don't know. I think katana is the only weapon that has this problem. It doesn't get a boost in guard or evasion from the weapon, and the only boost you get in those categories is from the sub weapon. So the non-sub weapon katana is rocking with low guard, low dodge. So if you're gonna play semi-tank katana, you don't have a lot of guard recharge at all. Considering being diplomatic and nice, I don't know. I can be pretty mean. You haven't seen me at my mean days, or like just when someone pisses me off. But nah, that's I wouldn't say. Nah, honestly, I think that's a big weakness. It's a bigger weakness than a lot of people might think, because like it kind of limits some of your survivability. Like iframes and the likes of that won't really, they only do so much. There's some situations where you want to save your MP rather than use an iframe. There's some situations where it's safer to just evade than iframe. And, you know, just for mobility reasons, obviously, I think having evasion can be helpful too, because you have to use backstep. You have to use wind release. You have to use triple thrust as like your primary mobility on katana, which those can eat up proration. Obviously, other than backstep. Backstep won't eat proration, but it's still MP. It's just that can be a bit of a problem. And then like with the guard thing, if you are gonna play semi-tank katana with the sub dagger like Hivan, you're not gonna have a lot of guard recharge. So that's just an option that's taken away from you. You're relying solely on parries. It's not. It's a pretty big weakness. It minimizes the amount of playstyles that are possible with katana, which is something that I don't think any class other than katana has a problem with right now. But I digress. Actually, no, wait, no, bow can have that problem, I guess. Yeah. Because bow, I don't think bow. Let me look at something. Hey Zenesis, are you still here? Does bow have access to evasion or guard from the weapon? Let me look at that. I don't think it need. I don't know, cause like bow would really need something like that too. At least the evasion. It wouldn't really need the guard on bow. Not as much as katana. It doesn't? Okay, so katana and bow, those are only classes right now that seem to have that problem. And they're like limited, and they just don't have the sub weapons that can like substitute that. Like katana can get evasion from the sub weapons, but it can't get guard at all. Bow can get, you know, nothing at all. Bow doesn't even get evasion. not from the weapon or the sub weapon. So that, yeah, that's something. Yep. Bow's got it worse than katana, but that kind of puts it in perspective a little bit. So bow's kind of limited to being a DPS, but like given the nature of bow, that's kind of its role. Bow's gonna be an S tier. I would put bow. I would put bow sub arrow as the only one in S tier, and I would put Botana. I would put Botana above katana in A tier. So bow sub arrow I feel like it's the only one that really needs a huge explanation, because some of the stuff I'm going to mention kind of falls into why these two are good as well. But bow sub arrow, you know, we just got the new hunter skills. We got cyclone arrow. Bow has an interrupt skill now, which, you know, a good interrupt skill, one that doesn't take a million years to use. And it's also functions as a crowd control skill because it's an AoE. So like bow's got better crowd control options there. And it also has vertical air, which is like a really good iframe. You know, it's 3 hits at long range, but I feel like at short range it's like really good utility, and the damage is like really good for vertical air. Like even at short range, even if you're just getting the 2-hit vertical air at short range, it's like really good damage. It's still better than bullseye. So I mean, there's that. You know, bow has the highest sustained damage in the game. I've said it a million times. I don't think any class, even katana, can really beat bow in the sustained damage category. It's just continuous damage flow. The MP cost isn't like too crazy, unless you're using vertical air and not bullseye. And like even if you are using vertical air to get higher damage than bullseye, like it's still like the damage that you get from vertical air kind of makes up for the MP cost. Like you're blowing through your MP using vertical air. Like, and even if you don't use bullseye, like even if you just go with a arrow rain, satellite, crossfire playstyle, like in a longer run, that sustained damage is gonna outpace a lot of classes, even katana. Like that's crazy. Like I've had multiple guild raids where bow just beat out everything, and it's not by like a little bit, it's by a lot. It like retrograde is just like crazy like that. One area, well, not one area, just multiple areas that bow in general can fall short in. It's just it's not, I don't think it's ever gonna be a very tanky class. Like you can't really play like a semi-tank bow. I mean you can with Botana, but you can't play it like, you can't play it the way you can with like Knuckles, dual swords. Like that's the only thing holding it back from like being an SS tier right now. Like it just can't be like a optimal semi-tank, you know, something that's capable of managing all of these different things all at once without like really having a huge drawback. Like that's the only problem with bow right now. Like if you wanted to play semi-tank bow, it's possible, but the drawback is now instead of focusing on, you know, keeping your damage going while also holding aggro, now you're just focusing on holding aggro and crowd controlling. You're basically playing more tank than you are DPS. So it's like a semi-tank bow would be like less of a semi-tank and more of just a tank, which is something again that just Knuckles and like dual swords don't deal with. But you know, it's really good. It's SS tier, very close to S. Well, it's S tier. It's very close to SS tier. Like it's got a lot going for it. Obviously, Botana, you don't get the boosted damage on satellite arrow. You get the katana skills, which I feel like can make up for that. You can be a semi-tank bow with Botana, but it's just like it's managing a lot more skills than what would be ideal for a typical player. And it's managing a lot more skills than you would probably have the combo slots for anyway. It's pretty pay to win to make a really good Botana build. I'll put it like that. And with bow no sub weapon, I don't know why you do this. It's not bad, but it's just, again, you know, there's no benefit in really using no sub weapon for bow, because bow's like a really high stability class. Like I don't see why you do that. But again, it's still really good. I think all 3 of these would dominate in like guild raids because of their sustained damage. Like all 3 of these have equally good sustained damage, in my opinion. And like with Botana, you're just adding Tenryu to the equation. Obviously the proration is going to be a drawback for Botana, but like with bow sub arrow, it's not as big of a drawback, and with no sub weapon bow, again, it's not as big of a drawback. Skill management and skill rotation is the main challenge for Botana, exactly. But like the damage, it's up there. Like this is like I think they're all equally good in long runs. The sustained damage is like really good regardless. But again, also like another huge advantage of bow sub arrow, you just get the free element. Like come on, I think bow is the only class in the game right now that still gets like a massive advantage from the free element. Anyways, I digress. Let's move on. Bowgun, no sub weapon. It's gonna go in B tier with I honestly think it's better than katana sub dagger. No, nah, I think sub dagger is better. I don't know. I'll rearrange that later. But anyways, like with Bowgun, it gets access to Vanquisher. You know, you get the lower Twin Storm damage count. You get the new Hunter skills. But the new Hunter skills, actually, let me show you, because I don't remember what the... I'm pretty sure the new Hunter skills need a sub weapon to function, actually. Let me look. Hunter skills, where are those at? Right here. Yeah, no, hold up. Where is it? Multiple hunt. Yeah, it needs a sub weapon to function. Because to get the armor break, I'm pretty sure you need sub arrow. Yeah, hold up. I don't think that's a technique that uses... Yeah. I don't know if it gets that armor break with no sub weapon, but yeah. Botana didn't get buffed, by the way. Botana hasn't been buffed. It's just... It's really good. Like, Botana is really good. I think people are underrating it. The big issue with Botana is it's always going to lean towards being mostly katana or mostly bow, because it's a lot of skills to manage, but like the sustained damage is equally as good as bow. It's just it has some drawbacks because it's not sub arrow, you know. How's it going? Welcome to the stream, everyone. Good to see you guys. Yeah, Bowgun without sub, like, it's not bad. I think it's still better than sub arrow. Hear me out. I think it's still better than sub arrow, only because you get the lower Twin Storm bullet count. But I mean, neither of them get Sicarius, and I think having the lower Twin Storm bullet count is just better than having the higher bullet count. Honestly, 12 bullets is better than 24, and because you can just use Vanquisher a lot quicker. So yeah, I think I'm gonna put Bowgun no sub higher than katana sub dagger in the B tier, and then Bowgun. Magic Warrior Bowgun is gonna go in F tier right now. It's better than it's clearly better than Bare Hand by a lot, but it's just it's terrible. Like, Multiple Hunt was almost like it could have been good if Multiple Hunt was like a weekend skill with armor break. It just like sub magic device Bowgun just needs so much to be good, and it just doesn't have that. You don't have Sicarius, you don't have, like, you do get the lower Twin Storm bullet count, but guess what? Your Vanquisher is based on intelligence on sub magic device. Did you know that? Did you guys know that? Vanquisher is nerfed on sub magic device. It's just not good. It's not good. Everything is taken from you. With the Hunter skills buff, like, now you can use satellite arrow, like, but at that point you're just basically playing sub arrow Bowgun, and it's just Bowgun sub arrow. Don't get me wrong, it's not great anymore, but like, it still gets freaking beat out by, you know, like it still beats out freaking magic device Bowgun. Like, it's terrible. It loses the power increase based on dex, skill power, so it loses a lot of constant too. I don't understand this. Now it's based on intelligence, and the constant is half. I don't understand this. So why do we do this? It's just, and if you go intelligence for like Bowgun magic device, like yeah, you're getting the same. I'm pretty sure the same multiplier as I'm pretty sure you're getting the same multiplier as with sub dagger or like any other sub weapon, but I don't think you're, like, you still get the lower constant and you lose critical damage too from strength or agility. It's just, it's not ideal. I don't know. I'm kind of firm with sitting this here. Like, again, it's still clearly a lot better than Bare Hand right now, but it's not good. Crossfire and Satellite cannot carry this class. Like, just play the other Bowgun classes, honestly. Sub Arrow, Bowgun, it's gonna go in B tier after Katana Sub Dagger. It's gonna go pretty low in B tier too. It's outdated. Like, it's an outdated style. There's not a lot of benefits anymore. Like the arrow, like yeah, the arrow gives you the element, but you get the higher Twin Storm bullet count. You know, you don't get Sicarius. The hunter skills, I mean, multiple hunt. I feel like one thing they could have did to make this perform pretty good, like the Sub Dagger, which I'll mention in a moment. They could have just like gave it access to like blind or something, so that it can use snipe, because all that multiple hunt is on Sub Arrow is snipe, better snipe. Getting magic device just for ticket to access magic. If you go it, then you can use magic cannon, but the problem is now you have to split your focus between physical pierce and magic pierce, which, as we learned from Halberd in the past, that's not something you want to do with any class right now. Just the game doesn't function on a spectrum where that's ideal or even beneficial. Not only not weird, it not only not good, it's weird. Bowgun plus MD is by far the weirdest setup. That's another thing. It's just like it shares a weakness with Botana. You're managing way too many skills than what you want to. All of that just to like not get any advantage out of it. I don't know. But with Sub Arrow is pretty outdated right now. Again, I mean, you still have Satellite Arrow, but that's not like a thing that it holds over the other bowguns anymore. Because with the new hunter skills, the other bowguns can also get Satellite Arrow, and it's not weakened anymore. Hold on, let me drink some water. Make sure you guys are staying hydrated. Like, my throat has been so scratchy, but yeah, with Sub Arrow, it's just like really outdated. You get the arrow element. I think that's like the only good thing about it, but like that good thing is outweighed by the bad things, in my opinion. Not by a lot, but like it's outweighed nonetheless. Yeah, I really just can't. I can't think of anything, cause I'm like trying to think. Are you ranking by solo play? I'm ranking by like every category. I'm ranking by budget. Like, obviously Bowgun Sub Arrow is gonna be like the best budget option, but I still think like a neutral Bowgun with a Sub Dagger is still gonna out DPS a Bowgun with a Sub Arrow. Like, I don't know. It's flu probably. Nah, I just got over a cold, so like I've been like coughing a lot. And then I've been working a lot too, so like I like lost my voice when I was sick. It's been pretty crazy for me. Yeah, Hunter lets you use skills that use arrows with no takebacks. I'm honestly trying to think, like there's gotta be something that Sub Arrow still has. Like it doesn't have the budget advantage either. I don't think it's ever had that. Like the only real thing you can say about it is you get the element from the sub weapon, so that's cool in like guild raids. Parabola, I mean Parabola's nice, but I don't know. Yeah, we might come back to that later. You get longer Twin Storm. That I feel like that's more of a drawback than a gain. Because now all of your damage is time. Like, I mean, your damage is time get it anyway, but like your Vanquisher's like stability's there. Yeah, stability from the arrow. That's a thing. I guess that's it, really. Stability, element. The element's gonna matter in like guild raids if you can't like afford better weapons, because you can get the element debuff in raids, and now you have to have like an element. And like using a neutral version of the other weapons will kind of suck in the guild raid if that happens. But I mean, like for the most part, the other bowguns are better, except for Magic Device, obviously. With that said, Sub Knuckles Bogun. This is a weird placement, I know. I'm gonna put this low in the A tier because Sub Dagger Bogun exists to go in the S tier, right behind Katana. Honestly, no, right above Katana, because I feel like it's less time getting to Katana. But these are both like more or less the same thing. You know what's crazy is before we got the hunter skills, like before we got multiple hunt, you know, Wolf Sniper helping Sub Dagger Bogun like be like a true slug shot weapon. You know, Sub Knuckles Bogun was like the only class in the game that could play like a true slug shot build. And when I say slug shot, I mean like you're putting all of your MP into one skill, but you also have like MP regen from Twin Storm. Like the idea was to, you know, use Flash Blink into Vanquisher and just like sacrifice all your MP for it. But then we got multiple hunt, which is just better Flash Blink, honestly. Longer Twin is for fun, to be honest. Longer Twin is like more utility. Like if you just need to be like a pro raider, that's like really good utility. This list is rigged. Bogun MD should be SSS. No, hold up. Let him cook real fast. What's good, Alchiki? Yeah, you like Bogun Arrow for Studi. Studi is really, that's something I didn't consider actually. I feel like Bogun Arrow is one of the better picks for Studi too. I mean, Magic Warrior later this month is probably gonna be better than Sub Arrow Bogun for Studi. Just because of Enchanted Spell, but I mean, yeah, Bogun's pretty good for Studi. I think it's the best for Studi right now. But like later this month, Magic Warrior does get access to a new mobility skill that lets you move around faster, and you know, it gets a updated version of Enchanted Spell, which is like would be really crazy for Studi, I think. Not only damage to neutral gets nerfed in Guild Raid, but every element has a possibility of getting nerfed. Your DC damage at Chimera Raid last time was super low. You're using Mystic that time. Interesting. Knuckles is top. What a time to be alive in TORAM. That's what I'm saying. Like, if I made this list back in like 2017, bro, I would have got canceled. But yeah, nah, Sub Arrow. I'm trying to really think of something for Sub Arrow. But yeah, anyways, back to this. Sub Dagger Bogun goes in S tier above Katana. You get the multiple hunt skill. You get access to the new satellite arrow. Obviously, you get access to Hunter's Bogun, which gives you a little bit more damage in general. And that's really it, honestly. And then Sub Knuckles Bogun is just a worse version of Sub Daggers. Sub Dagger, you don't get access to Sicarius. You don't get access to Shadow Walk. You get access to some Knuckle skills. You get access to like, I don't know. Flash Blink is cool. Ashura Aura, really, you get a 0 MP iframe, which is really nice actually. That's really it though that I can think of. I'd say like this would be a really good semi-tank. If you're gonna play like a semi-tank Bogun, Sub Knuckles is the way to go. And it's like you can get really high aggro because of Vanquisher if you play like a true slug shot build. So yeah, it's not bad. It's really good. Actually, I'm gonna throw that above Botana even. But yeah, like just thinking about the semi-tank capabilities, it's like a semi-tank version of Sub Dagger actually. So like, you know what? No. These two are gonna go next to each other just for that. So if you want to play, because they're capable of more or less the same things, just no backstab. No Sicarius here, and then you don't get Shadow Walk, but this is a more tanky version. Ashura, get the Ashura damage reduction, you get the crit rate from Ashura, and then with the dagger it's just a more damage focused version. Yeah, they more or less have the same playstyle though. Gunfu gets access to Flash Blink, Ashura, and energy control. Hold on, can it use energy control? I didn't think of that. Can it even use energy control? It can. So it gets a stability buff from energy control. Interesting. That is something I didn't think of. Yeah, no, semi-tank bowgun. I think I like this ranking right here. If you're gonna play like a semi-tank bowgun, sub knuckles is probably the way to go, because you get the highest aggro, I would think, with this, and with sub shield you would get the higher resist, obviously. But these three are like, I don't know. Obviously sub dagger is better than these two, but these two, like, you can kind of switch sub knuckle and sub shield however you like, because triple A shot, that's like a heal over time. That heal is really, really crazy on triple A shot. I don't know. What do you guys think about sub shield? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, bowgun sub knuckles, like before we got multiple hunt, I was gonna actually do like a very similar build to what I have now for sub dagger. It was gonna be dexterity agility, and it was gonna be a slug shot build, but then we got wolf hunter, which is just like kind of defeated the purpose of the build that I was gonna go for, and you know, I just went with that. This is why DTE is still needed despite having MSS. Yeah, guild rate is guild rate makes DTE kind of a huge deal. By the way, welcome to the stream, Zed. One hand sword without a sub weapon. I mean, it's not bad. Like, it's not bad, but it's probably really, really low B tier. I can't think of any reason to like go no sub weapon for one hand sword. I can't think of anything. Raid boss actually has defense, but it's not worth mentioning. Yeah, that's a thing. Raid bosses don't have high defense. It's just that debuff of not being able to use items and not being able to use neutral weapons is huge. That's like the only saving grace for sub arrow bowgun right now compared to the other bowguns. And yeah, like with halberd, I'll mention later, Mystic Star Spear. It's like insane. It actually opens up the possibility of other playstyles, but I'll get to that later. It's a Kirito single sword version. You know, I mean, if no sub weapon one hand sword had like at least a bonus effect for like gladiate, or like they could just like make gladiate just like, I don't know, give gladiate like a quadruple buff with no sub weapon for like one hand sword. That'd be something. I don't know, just like, I feel like making classes that are capable of not wielding a sub weapon able to have like a usage for a reason to not wield a, you know, sub weapon would be, that'll spice up the game a lot in my opinion. So I feel like something that every two-handed class has in common is that other than katana, they don't really, there's no reason to not wield a sub weapon. Like, you'll almost always get more out of the sub weapon than you would out of not having it. Magic Warrior, it's gonna go into high B tier. No, it'll go, yeah, I don't know, low A tier or high B tier. I'm gonna put it in low A tier right now. Obviously with Magic Warrior, Nemesis is really, really crazy on one hand sword. I think one hand sword and Knuckles sub magic device are like the two only Magic Warriors capable of I think they're the only two capable of focusing on the physical and magic side of Nemesis, and just like generally getting a decent chunk of damage from the physical and magic side. But again, it's just like you're focusing on physical and magic, which just has never been ideal in this game. That's always been something that's just subpar in this game. I don't know. Your crit is really high. Like, you you're not weak to any one boss. That's something that's good about Magic Warrior. With these Magic Warrior buffs later this month, I think that it'll probably push it up to S tier. But right now, it's just it's sitting at the bottom of A tier. I can't really think of anything. Also, to give some context to the problem you had at a time, you don't have a DTE bow set for your Botana. Yeah, DTE can make or break Botana. Yeah, like, yeah, Botana, I don't know. It's just like with Botana, bow specifically, like losing the advantage of the sub arrow is just, it's huge. It can increase. Can't put high B, but we're waiting for that rework and new skills. Yeah, this tier list is as of this tier list is for the current balance, though. I'll probably like change some stuff, like some minor things in the tier list, if like the changes like prove to be like a huge change in balance for the game, which it very well might, because I can see staff being crazy because of this crap that we're getting this month, but I don't know. Yeah, I'm kind of drawing a blank there. With sub scroll, one hand sword, it's right next to Magic Warrior. Ninja skills are nice. You know, you can play dual type. You can, like, you know, you can play magic and physical side for sub scroll. You get access to, you know, backstab buff. You know, what more can I say? The assassin skills are like just really nice. I honestly say like an unsheathed one-hand sword build wouldn't suck. You can still play Magic Warrior with this. You can, you know, use enchant sword as well as thunder release, but the problem with that would be that you wouldn't get the boosted enchant sword from enchanted burst, so it's just kind of like, I don't know. What do you guys think? Because I'm pretty sure enchanted burst is sub magic device only, and only for one hand sword and a few other classes. Let me take a look real fast. I could be wrong. If you can use enchanted burst with it, yeah, it's two hand and sub magic device only. So you wouldn't be able to use it. One hand sword plus scroll is stronger than one hand sword plus magic device. It's hard to really say. Sicarius will boost the damage of like your primary one hand sword skills a lot, but losing those magic skills, losing enchanted burst, like if you're gonna use sub scroll one hand sword, like you're kind of, I don't know. I'll come back to that, because it wouldn't really play as a good semi tank either. Sub magic device can at least be a decent semi tank. Then sub arrow, you got parabola. It's gonna go in B tier. Above sub arrow. No, below sub arrow. Bogon. Yeah. Sub arrow one hand sword is gonna go into low B tier. It's just, you get access to parabola, which is a really good fit for one hand sword. Don't get me wrong, but you know, with like a long range, I don't know, with a long range one hand sword build, I'm pretty sure your only long range skill would be parabola. I would have to ask Quirt about that, because he played it. You can hear some kind of background noise cast. It might be my fan. Let me turn it off. Yeah, sub arrow. It's just gonna go right here. I'm drawing a bit of a blank on that one too. Sub knuckle one hand sword, probably the best semi tank in the game. I don't know. It's gonna go into S tier, honestly. Like, it's better than you might think. It's by far the best semi tank in the game right now. It's just the damage side of it being a semi tank. Well, let me scratch that. It's capable of being the best semi tank in the game for the tanky side of, you know, being a semi tank. But as far as the damage side goes, it's not gonna like provide a lot, like, you know, Knuckles or dual swords. But it's like really good, I think. Yeah. You get Gladiate, you get Ashura. It's really up there. You get energy control, some more stability from that. What else? Yeah, Paladin's better by far. Paladin's gonna go into. I think honestly I'm gonna put Paladin after Bow in the tier list. Paladin is capable of being a really good semi-tank, just like Sub Knuckles. Not as good as a semi-tank of Sub Knuckles one-hand sword, but you know, Reveneer. You know, you get those night skills in general. Also, PvP is something to add to this. I forgot PvP can matter in a tier list. One-hand sword sub shield is the best class in PvP, and it's so much better than the other classes in PvP that, you know, at the higher levels of PvP, you're pretty much only going to see one-hand sword sub shield. So there's that. Sub dagger one-hand sword, just not. It's a meme build. Come on, it's a troll session build. And guys, come on, dual swords. I just explained this like a little bit. I actually have some footage, but like dual swords, I wouldn't be mad if people put dual swords above. I would put dual swords above sub shield Knuckles, but not above sub dagger. But I wouldn't be mad if someone did put it above sub dagger Knuckles, because like these are very, very arguable. You said literally speaking from PvP experience. I'm also speaking from experience. Like there's people that will tell you that PvP has got some balance, but like if we really put into perspective the amount of like unique builds you will be able to use in PvP, it's way lower than PvE. Like PvP really just narrows itself down to sub shield builds, and then after that it narrows itself down to one-hand sword. Right, ultimately it's just PvP is not balanced, but I digress. Dual swords, let me actually get the footage up. Dual swords is crazy. Dual swords not only has damage, it can be a really crazy semi-tank. Hold up, let me show you guys what I'm talking about.
Hey, what's even good, man? CDC, IDM, we in this motherfucker? Bitch, I'm in the cut. Roll them C. You don't really want to see me turn my head and roll them sleeves. Body bagging your whole team like groceries. Turn your to roast the beef. Take your money, badges, and you'll grow with me. First, I make her ass spray, then I drop.
Man, I have so much freaking footage. It's actually kind of difficult to find it. Okay, I found it. Alright, I'm about to pull this up for you guys after it transfers over. 100% of high PvP is Paladin. 100% of it is Paladin. You might find like a sub-meta device one-hand sword in PvP. That like you might find dual swords in PvP, but they're not gonna beat sub shield. Like PvP's got just too many issues right now with balance. But anyways, let me pull this up. Let me pull this up for you guys. All right. So, this is a party run, and this is exactly what I'm gonna like show you. Dual swords is capable of being like an insane semi-tank right now because of Gladiate. I don't know. It's just yeah. It can sustain aggro really, really well too. Everything about dual swords is just its only weakness. I think dual swords' only weakness is low guard recharge. Let me turn it down. Like, its damage is really high. You can be a semi-tank without losing a lot in damage. Like, look! I'm getting my ass beat by these mobs, and I'm not really feeling like I'm in danger here. And then cross parry. Something a lot of people don't know about cross parry that's better than energy control, in my opinion, is that it nullifies knockback, so you can't get knocked back. So in bosses like E-Toys, which I've carried a lot in E-Toys using dual swords, you won't get knocked back. So you can just use freaking recovery, and then you could just use cross parry, and it's just insane. That's gonna do a lot for you. But I digress. I really like, honestly, dual swords, it's got everything really. It's got the damage. It's capable of some of the highest damage in the game right now. It's capable of, honestly, I don't know. When the feature is narrowed down to just one single class to actually matter, it's severely imbalanced. That's what I'm saying. Like, most of PvP is just one hand sword and its subsidiaries, but mostly sub shield. Any DPS can compete with SR Lunar. Oh yeah, the highest DPS in the game is Stormreaper Lunar, but the problem is Stormreaper Lunar is very, very low sustained DPS because of the MP cost. DX and Baba Guy, yes sir. But yeah, dual swords right now, like I said, I wouldn't be mad if you switch it with sub dagger Knuckles, because both of these are like really they're both like really good at the same things, and they're like, I would say they're equally good at the same things. Like, even in the sustained damage category, dual swords will be better than Knuckle sub dagger in sustained damage if, you know, if they didn't nerf aerial cut, if they didn't give aerial cut the extra MP cost, it would be a lot better than sub dagger on a sustained DPS. But yeah, Genex set, unsheath, one hand sword on top. Talk to him. Talk to these people, bro. Let them know. Let them know, bro. Does cross parry negate absolute crowd control? It does. It does. You can't get flinched, tumbled, or stunned during cross parry, which is like really good. I would say one thing about cross parry I wish was better was the duration. If it had even like 10 seconds more on the duration, it would be like, it would be insane. PvP is pretty crap anyway. I can see PvP being fun, but it's just not, it's not balanced. Come on now, guys. No, like, actually, all jokes aside, I'm lowering Staff's ranking. I'm gonna put it lower than, you know, what I did last time in the tier list, but it's still S tier. I think it goes after Bogan now, Bogan sub dagger. I think sub scroll Staff goes below Bogan sub dagger. Oh no, sub scroll will go at the end of S tier, and the rest will probably go into A tier. I don't know, but sub magic device Staff, you know, obviously we have Kadal, which is the fastest DPS in the game. It's the fastest killer in the game, not the fastest DPS. It's one of the hardest to power creep classes for sure, because Staff benefits from 3 stats. You get the critical damage from strength, which is a huge boost for your, you know, magic damage that crits. You get the boosted magic attack from dexterity and the cast speed. Obviously intelligence. A lot of your stuff scales with intelligence. Staff's got some stuff, but Kadal, honestly, I don't like Kadal. Don't get me wrong, but Kadal has made Staff insane. Like, it's S tier for sure. In long runs, even, like, a lot of people will say, oh, Staff in long runs after you use Kadal 2 times. Well, guess what? You still have weaken with sub magic device. And then with the scroll build, you can still play a non-crit build after, you know, you've used your Kadal 2 times. Like, you're still gonna do really good damage here. You have access to those ninjutsu skills. You have access to, like, it's still gonna be good. But sub arrow is just gonna go high A tier. Sub knuckle, honestly, all the staffs are gonna go high A tier. Semi take staff, actually, you know what, I'm gonna put sub scroll high A tier. So I feel like being a tanky mage is a lot more valuable than being a non-crit mage. Raid. In raids, like, I don't know, because in raids, Nemesis, you have Enchanted Spell. You have Magic Crash. Obviously, Magic Device is gonna be better in raid than Staff, as far as like the long-term damage goes. But like outside of raid, I don't think Staff has a lot of problems. Like a lot of people, like I thought actually that Staff would have a bit of a problem in bosses with damage limits, bosses with HP locks, but I've been proven wrong with that time and time again with the amount of times that Kadal has set the record for killing a boss. It's just, I don't get it. Even the weakness, crit rate is not enough, so your staff should also have crit rate and armor, and crit rate for the weakness to be good. Yeah, once you MP charge, you lose. That's what Nemesis and Crash are for. You use those so you can MP charge while they're active. Yes, sir. Staff sub shield with Laliat can get above 400 crit. Staff sub shield is really good as just like a tanky mage. You get the crowd control options. You get staff thrust. You also get, you know, I get your Nemesis is smaller, but you get that wacky, like really strong first hit Nemesis with sub shield. So there's that. I don't know. Staff, obviously, like, Staff is never going to be bad with Kadal existing. Like, you're probably going to see Staff holding the record for every kill speed out there, for every boss out there, except for, like, those bosses with extremely low HP where Shutout just wins, but, yeah, it's hard to beat Staff in faster kills. And in longer runs, like, Staff isn't bad, it's just... Like Xenesis was saying, in longer runs, like Katana, Bow, those are gonna beat Staff for sure. Dual swords even. Physical Staff, nah. Physical Staff kinda, I don't know. It's not bad, but that's also a thing you can do with sub shield. You can play like a hybrid with it. I don't know. Let me get some better music playing. 1 second. Because there's a lot of ads here. Let me go to YouTube Music and pray that I don't get like copyright blasted. I'll play this. Let me turn that down. Okay. Let me know if the music is like at a good audio level. Anyway, you miss your staff boo. Good times. It's basically a much worse physical Knuckles MD. Kadal maxes out mostly at 2 casts per run. So yeah, like that's why these, like, they're good, but they're not on the level of sub shield or sub magic device, just because these can work in long content for one reason or another. Again, Staff is never gonna excel in long content. It's always gonna excel in being that really annoying class that joins a party and sets all the records and makes you feel useless, but it's not gonna fall off. It's not like Finale where, you know, it has a foreseeable fall off, because you can't really power creep Kadal. The only way to power creep Kadal is to nerf it, because in its current state, Kadal is just a buff for other skills like Magic Cannon, Finale. It's a buff for skills I feel like didn't need it. But Magic Device, obviously Magic Device excels in really long content. It excels in being a support. Magic Device is going to go up in S tier right behind, honestly I'm gonna put it behind Staff, because it doesn't have Kadal, obviously, but Magic Device is top tier support. It's probably the best pro raider in the game. It's got it's up there in terms of long-term damage. Like, your sustained damage in the long run is really high, but the problem with Magic Device is the exact opposite of Staff. It's never going to be able to fast kill, really. I think the fastest kill possible with Magic Device will probably be in the 14 to 20 second range. It's just Magic Device, but like that's okay. I honestly think that's okay. Magic Device is really fun, like Xenesis just said. It's really fun. I recommend a lot of you try it if you're gonna try any Magic classes. I forgot to put no sub staff right here, but yeah, Magic Device. And then with sub scroll, you get access to the ninja skills. You get that really long range wind release. So you get that really, really crazy movement, and it's directional. It's like having a directional backstep. Like, that's insane. And then you also, I don't know, like, Magic Device doesn't really have a huge weakness. You can play like a semi-tank Magic Device too. The only thing missing from Magic Device is like it can't flinch, tumble, stun. But I mean, like, honestly, I think that's fine. It fits as like a support. It's like Magic Device is like insane. And then obviously this one's gonna be a little bit worse than sub scroll because you don't get the ninja skills, you don't get the stability, and you don't get access to like Shadow Walk. Magic Device can get like that really long range Shadow Walk too, which is insane. Yeah, either way, like Genesis said, either way, Magic Device is a staple in Raid. No matter how you chalk it up, it's a staple in Raid. If you're asking for a support, you're probably asking for a Magic Device character. If you're asking for a Pro Raider, you're probably picking Magic Device before you pick Bogon. And budget-wise, Magic Device is really, really crazy. It's really good because, you know, your weapon is a weapon that's always obtainable. Your weapon of choice, at least. Full Dota is going to be obtainable for a while. I don't think Full Dota is going to be an outdated weapon for at least another year. Is that Trickwing singing? It's me and Trickwing. That's the song that we did. But Resurrection is good. Resurrection is a staple in Raid. Oh. Magic Device is the only class capable of resurrecting pets in combat too, which it's a pretty huge deal in my opinion. Yeah, it's 9th anniversary at least on the weapon attack. We gotta get some really, really overpowered like Magic Devices, like NPC Magic Devices, to really, really spice up the category for this weapon, but I digress. I'm gonna do two-hand sword because Halberd there's a lot that I have to say, but two-handed sword is gonna go at the lowest in B tier. Like, I think out of all the B tier classes here, two-hand sword has the best damage, but out of all the B tier classes here, no, hold up, it at least has better utility than sub arrow. Well, it at least has better utility than no sub weapon one-hand sword. But out of all the classes here in B tier, it has the least utility. Out of every class in the game, actually, it has the least utility. It has less utility than sub Magic Device Bogon. It has less utility than bare hand. Two hand has some terrible attack MP recovery. Decoy, like out of every class in the game, you can get away with not using decoy shot with every class except for two hand. Because for some reason, Sobimo said, hey, what we're gonna do with blade skills, we're gonna make every skill cost more MP on two hand. Yeah. That's a thing. For some reason, every single skill seems to cost more MP on two hand. At least 100 more. But two hands got really good damage. Two hands gonna be your staple for really low HP bosses, but like that. And when I say really low HP bosses, I mean like bosses with like, I don't know, 10 million or less HP. And that's assuming that boss doesn't have like multiple phases. I don't know. Hey yo, what two-hand hurt you? Oh no, two-hand didn't hurt me. But like, also, another thing to mention out of every class in the game, two-hand's just the least fun right now. It doesn't have its own playstyle. Every single class has gotten something that changed its playstyle to be unique, right? But two-hand is still impact, high damage skill, and then Soul Hunter. That's it. But it like, I don't know. Two-hand's got like, it's got really good weapons. It's got really good, it's got a really good ring. It's got the Bear Warrior Obi. Got the short range damage and the critical rate on that. I think weapons that are capable of running no crit rate on the weapon are like always gonna have good damage. They're never gonna have like a big fall off on damage, but it's just a utility. Like, two-hand can be a semi tank, don't get me wrong. It gets guard from the weapon. But where are your iframes? Your iframes cost 1 million fucking MP. Just like Zemesis said, if a boss doesn't move in the long run, then it's really OP. But in guild raids, you're not going to be able to stop the boss from moving unless it's like Mighty Chimera. I think Mighty Chimera is the only boss that won't move. But guess what? Mighty Chimera has a vortex attack that'll destroy two-hand. Even if you're like a tanky two-hand, you'll get destroyed by that AoE. Save tag the iframe. I mean, that's a thing that you can do, but I mean, you know, you don't have a real parry skill on two-hand. You got Gladiate. Most of the utility from two-hand just comes from it being able to be a semi-tank. But like, the lack of AMPR is a big one, because that kind of outweighs the utility, in my opinion. The only thing to be praised for on two-hand is Lunar Slash. Oh yeah, Lunar Slash is gonna also look really good at the stat cap, because it's gonna still grow. Because two-hand can benefit from dexterity on Lunar Slash. But I don't know. Some people made some really weird choices with two-hand. Why even semi with two-hand when you have Knuckles? Exactly. That's another thing. It's just kind of like, if you're gonna play semi two-hand, you have dual sword to Knuckles, which will do it way better, and it'll be more fun. You'll be in less pain because you don't need decoy to semi tank with these. And then Gladiate gets like a boost on resistance on dual swords. It gets 2 times resistance. I'm pretty sure you get like 20% damage reduction as opposed to just 10. And two-hand I believe gets, I don't know if two-hand gets reduced or if it just gets the same. Let me look actually. But I know Gladiate's better on fucking dual swords than it is on two-hand, which is like, why? Sword Tempest is better than Lunar. Glenn. We're not supposed to be telling the public this information, bro. Gladiate. So, Twin Sword, the amount of MP recovered slightly increases when damage gets reduced. How much are we talking here? That doesn't look like anything. Hold on. Recovers 10 MP for each remaining stack when the buff duration ends. Recover 30 MP and two-hand sword. Huh? But it says the amount of MP recovered slightly increases. That's a decrease. I don't know. Corn might be wrong, but that looks like a decrease. So it doesn't even look like it recovers bonus MP. It's saying damage reduced by 20%. Dual swords. It gets the bonus damage reduction, just like dual swords too. But dual swords is still gonna be better. It scales with your attack MP recovery. Use Psy. So I have to translate Psy. Yeah, I don't know. Two-hand is just like it's two-hand's just suffering from the things I can do with this class. Other classes I'll have more fun doing it with, and it'll just be better. You spammed TORAM request for two-hand AMPR buff, but was pointless. I mean, two-hand's gonna get something, but right, like for the past year and a half since we've gotten tier 5, it's just not. It's not been great. Gladiate doesn't exist in two-hand. Yeah, like I don't see. If you're gonna play like Gladiate only exists for semi-tank two-hand, and it's just gonna be a case where just use freaking dual swords. And for Halberd, you know, you got, I think all Halberds are gonna go high up in S tier. Probably, I'm probably gonna put Halberd above Bowgun. All 3 of them. Well, Sub Arrow is actually gonna go. No, I think I'm gonna put all 3 of them above Bowgun. So, Starting with Sub Arrow, which is the weaker of the three, you get access to like Parabola, you get access to Snipe. Snipe is really good for Draconic Charge's second hit. I don't think I need to say more other than that. Just having access to the arrow skills is pretty nice for Draconic Charge. You get access to more ailments. Having more ailment variety is pretty nice for Strike Stab. I don't think I need to really elaborate farther than that. That can be really useful just in general for Halbert's kit. It just works. The whole kit works. For a two-handed Halbert, you get the two-handed skill, more stability. You get 5 extra crit rate. You get some more weapon attack because Halbert's a really high weapon attack class. That weapon attack boost is gonna be it's gonna be pretty nice, you know. And for a sub dagger, obviously you get Sicarius. You get access to pretty much every single assassin skill. You get access to Shadow Walk, which is my favorite skill. And then for sub dagger, you just get access to a lot, like just some of the best stats in the game for sub weapons. Also, Halbert has like the best attack MP recovery in the game right now. Maybe not the easiest, but like the best by far, with Infinite Dimension. And then Halbert is up there in terms of how soon you can start doing your damage. Halbert is probably second to Staff because of Almighty Wield. Almighty Wield is like such a stark night and day difference from Godspeed Wield that it's not even like funny. He said we could just mana pot on tourney. Come on now, Glenn. Halbert is SS. Halbert, the only thing holding Halbert back from being SS, because a lot of these classes, I think a lot of the classes after Halbert, I think a lot of the S tier classes up to Halbert sub dagger could be SS. But these SS classes are just so far above the highest one in S tier. Like it's just like Copium Wield. I didn't even mention Geyser Kick for Sub Shield Knuckles. If you're gonna do Geyser Kick, Sub Shield Knuckles will be the better of the two to do it with than Sub Dagger because of the higher resistance. I think you would want to go with a resistance build for Geyser Kick, or you could just go with Sub Arrow. You know, if you want the higher damage. But Shadow Walk is just insane on Halbert. Like, I don't know. I think people are really also sleeping on Halbert's survivability. Okay. The same way that people think that Halbert is like the way that people think Halbert has a survivability issue is the exact way that Bogan sub dagger has a survivability issue. That's the only thing holding sub dagger Bogan from being SS tier. But the thing is, with sub dagger Bogan, like it's not like you can't just, you know, not use multiple hunt. You can do that, but your damage is going to be a lot lower. But with Halbert, I think if we didn't get the Mystic Star Spear, it would be a little lower. Because the Mystic Star Spear also adds utility to the class. It being an NPC weapon, you know, something that every player has access to. They don't have to spend a kitty to get it. Halbert is just it's really good right now. You can play a magic build Halbert as well. Punish Ray, Grand Buster Lance, and you know the famous Strike Stab Draconic Charge combo. I think Buster Lance Draconic Charge is a lot better than Strike Stab Draconic Charge, albeit the setup takes a little bit longer. Actually, a lot bit longer. If it weren't for the cast time on Punish Ray, then Buster Lance into Draconic would be better. That's like precisely the reason why Halbert's like really crazy. Thank you for making two-hand cheap. Two-hand's gonna be cheap anyway. Well, nah, not really. Two-hand's gonna be expensive. Because two-hand is still the event boss slayer after Reveneer. Like a party you would see in almost all like low HP bosses is like a Reveneer plus 3 two-hands. That's something you'll see everywhere. Kadal is like more so for like mid-range to higher HP bosses. And like when I say higher HP, I mean like lower than 50 million HP. And then after that, it's I think you would start to see Knuckles and dual swords. But yeah, this is kind of where my tier list is looking right now. I don't know. If two hand got like a mobility skill that increased its attack MP recovery, something like Twin Storm, but obviously like more like in a two-hand style, that would help. You think one-slotted halberd is bad? One-slotted halberd that's not Mystic Star Spirit is bad. But halberd right now, like, people underestimate what halberd has. Halberd has a skill that has plus 75 crit rate on it and 100% physical pierce. Dragon Tooth. Halberd has a skill that's AoE that uses physical and magic resistance. So, you know, if you have the Mystic Star Spear, you're not really weak to a lot of content in the game, if any at all. Draconic Charge. And this same skill is one of the best mix-ups in PvP. It's one of the best ways to survive in base game, like in PvE. Like, if you master Draconic Charge, your survivability is SS tier worthy. Because I'm pretty sure the end lag is like reduced if you get the manual Draconic Charge skip. It's probably new guard stuff, two-hand skills, BS. I would like to hope and dream. Also, Halberd just having the advantage of being an agility class. Notice! Only one of the top 3 classes. Actually, the only reason Bow is a top 3 class is Guild Raid. Because if Guild Raid didn't exist, I would probably put Halberd. Nah. Reveneer would still be better than Halberd, but you get my point. 3 out of the 5 top classes right now are agility classes. Albeit one of the worst classes is also an agility class, but come on now, guys. Bow can non-graze. Being able to non-graze is like equally as important as freaking being able to, you know, start your damage sooner. And being able to non-graze just means that you're probably not going to miss out on, you know, seeing your maximum damage most of the time. And like, out of the top classes, non-graze is something that Halberd and Bow have in common as well, because Draconic Charge, the first hit won't graze. It's perfect aim. Why Bow not SS? Because Bow doesn't get any guard or evasion from the weapon or the sub-weapons. Every single weapon in the game, except for Bow, can at least get evasion from the weapon or the sub-weapon. Bow and Katana are the only 2 classes in the game that can't get guard from either the weapon or the sub-weapon. So it just limits the possibilities of playing this class. It limits the amount of resources you have to draw from when you're playing this class. Bow would be SS if it had better survivability overall. Because a lot of its survivability just comes down to it being a long range class and it having access to iframes. But having access to iframes doesn't make your survivability, you know, great. It just means that you have better survivability. It helps your survivability, of course, but it doesn't automatically make it great. Retrograde and Kasumi on Botana being like parry type skills, those for sure are like very, very helpful. But again, if we're just talking like in semi-tank potential, dual swords and Knuckles just beat it out by far, because you can literally build these three SSS, if you build these three SS tier classes as just normal DPS, guess what? They're still semi-tanks. Unless you play Godspeed wield dual swords, of course. I've been like spreading propaganda for dual swords for people to just like stop playing Godspeed wield on their dual swords, because like you're getting a little bit of extra damage just so that you can die in a nut tap. Like, I don't know. I feel like the drawback of dying in a nut tap is a bit higher than the gain of having like 200k more damage on your aerial cut. Like, come on. Oh yeah, Bo also relies on decoy really heavily. But I mean, being that Bo and Bowgun, I don't know. I would say that's okay for Bo and Bowgun because the decoy shot on Bo and Bowgun is really good range. Don't get me wrong. And then there's also the fact that they don't stop when they get hit by an AoE. In case you didn't know, every class's decoy shot, including Magic Device, which has the longest range decoy in the game. If they get hit by an AoE, decoy will stop attacking for about 2 seconds. So
all these TORAM online NPCs trying to distract me from the ground.
That checks out. You rarely get graze.
Okay.
You would think the range is good enough. Yeah, no, the range is not good enough on that. At least not in raid. If a boss moves in raid, Katana for sure is gonna outdo Bow. I would say like Katana, Magic Device, those will outdo Bow in like the dark raid. But Bow will probably outdo the other classes in the raids that move less, like Bison, Chimera. Thruma doesn't really move a lot either, because it has like the scripted thing with its HP, where it will like always go to the middle. So I mean, it's not as bad as it sounds, but it's a thing. It's a drawback that exists. Bow, like I said, Bow is just carried by its really insane sustained damage. Like, if we're talking sustained DPS, Bow is unmatched. Hold on. I have a picture on Twitter of exactly what I'm talking about. Let me pull that up. Well, it's called X now. I don't know why the fuck they changed that. Elon Musk, he's bugging. But Bo is like literally carried 100%. Not 100%, about 90% by its sustained damage. So let me pull this up. Okay, this is just the damage that I did with retrograde. If we add that up, before we add in satellite, before we add in vertical air, look at the retrograde ticks. Like, this is what carries Bow. It's high sustained damage. The only benefit I find for Botana is that the Kaideki duration is far longer than Bow plus sub arrow, which means it can skip decoy and bosses that move a lot. And then it also doesn't have the drawbacks of Makyo. And for Botana, you know, Botana's really cheap. People underestimate how cheap it is. People complain about you needing to awaken your element on Botana, but do we realize how cheap Botana actually is? Even if you like max out all the DTE weapons, it's still cheaper than DTE Bow. Like, if you're gonna go DTE Bow, DTE Botana is still cheaper. And you can do critless weapons on Botana. I don't know. That's something people underestimate. Budget-wise, I still say Bow is better, but Botana is still like, it's not expensive. Bow damage over time. Yeah, Bow is like, it's unbeatable in long runs if the boss doesn't move. If the boss moves, then Katana is now taking that spot as unbeatable.
See, I'm flowing nice on my 8 speed. Soul hunter on everything. Always building with Godspeed. Hate to see it, man. You hate to see it. Got my wings out like I'm Queen Bee. I'm dashing around my
Instant damage is Kadal.
Got it on my mind like all the
Depends on the amount of HP, because if it's instant damage, then it's Reveneer and Shutout. Mage on top. Mage is only on top if the boss is, you know, but which is 90%, 98% of the bosses in the game. If the bosses just have low HP, for some reason, Asobimo time gates us on the boss difficulties. So by the time we actually get the higher difficulty of that boss, the power creep is caught up, and that boss is just as easy as the previous difficulty that we had access to. So like by the time we get ultimate mode for like Trickster, who will have like 57 million HP, it'll be as easy as it was when we got Nightmare mode. SR Lunar on raids, the damage is crazy, but like the sustain damage is terrible. You're popping 800 MP per combo. You'll probably be able to do that 3 times before you have to like auto attack spam, which kind of sucks. Like I said, I really wouldn't argue if people put dual swords above sub dagger knuckles. Like these two are interchangeable. I would actually probably say dual swords has a bit of an edge because of the free element from the sub weapon. But Knuckles, like the same way you could say that about dual swords, Knuckles has an edge because of NPC weapons. It's just kind of that's exactly why. Like I wouldn't want to be in a room if these two people were arguing. The people that, you know, thought either of these classes were better than the other. I wouldn't want to be in a room for that argument, because it goes either way. It'd be an endless argument, because you can make every point and they wouldn't be really arguable. You just did a critless DTE bow for your Botana. Yeah, critless DTE for Botana is definitely the move. That's what I do for mine. The other benefit is that it deals more emotional damage if you beat people with it. Oh, dude, Botana is like, I would cry. That would suck. Like at least with the other classes, you can kind of see it happening. And I think people are starting to like realize Magic Device isn't like weak. It doesn't have like the damage isn't low. It's just slow. There's a difference between the damage being low and it being slow. Because the damage is really good for Magic Device. Which means like in long content, Magic Device is going to be like, obviously it's not going to be as good as Katana and Bow, like I said. But these are top 3 in sustained damage for a reason. Reveneer users hate each other. I think Reveneer is always going to be on top. And I would say now we're at a point where Reveneer is starting to catch up. Because since tier 5, we've gotten a lot of skills that kind of made Reveneer fall off. But it's starting to catch up because of its, just because of the design of the skill. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but Reveneer is capable of doing like 10 million a pop now. Like 3 Reveneers will kill a boss. So, and 3 Reveneers is just 6 stacks, which I believe Shield Cannon alone will give you that. That's something to keep in mind. But what do you guys think about this right now? Any changes to this tier list that you guys think are worth a note? What made Reveneer fall off is that it's annoying to level. It can be pretty annoying to level. Because people will just assume that you're a tank. Nowadays, Knuckle tank is on top though. But I mean, early tier 5, Reveneer was really crazy. In fact, actually, I think I have a Reveneer run I want to show you guys. Like, Reveneer is catching up. And I'm using a critless weapon for this Revenir run. My weapon doesn't have any crit rate. Let me find it. It's actually hard to find like some of my. Here's my Revenir one. Here it is. I think Revenir still holds the world record for solo mercenary parties as well. I don't think even Kadal. I mean, then again, I don't see any sub-shield Kadal players actually going and trying to beat the world records, because they most definitely would, but Revenir still holds the world records for solo mercs. With Bo broke a world record, but then Revenir just got that world record right back. Let me wait for this to send. Okay. Even if that Knuckles plus shield DPS is as long as DPS, as long as that you can hold aggro and still deal good damage, is a huge plus. Like I said, with these three classes, the main thing that sets it so far apart from these other classes, right, the ones below it, and the reason why they get their own tier is because even if you just built them as a plain DPS, they'll automatically be a semi-tank. If you get aggro, you're probably not gonna die playing these. People often ask Knuckle Shield DPS, are you a tank or kick? I make fun of sub shield Knuckle a lot because just dagger is so much better than sub shield, but like sub shield is still like, it's still SS tier. Just I feel like a lot of the people that are playing DPS, because obviously if you're gonna tank with Knuckles, then sub shield is better. But like a lot of people that are playing DPS Knuckles are they're picking sub shield for some reason, and they're not going with sub dagger. A lot of people that are playing semi-tank Knuckles are making a dedicated semi-tank, where I think it's just more effective to just make a DPS build and then get the semi-tank capabilities as a secondary, and you can do that better with sub dagger. But with Revenir, here's what I'm talking about. Let me pull this up. Okay. Magic Warrior where? Magic Warrior is in the tier list. Magic Warrior right now. This tier list is as of this current patch, but you know Revenir is starting to come back.
All these TORAM online NPCs trying to distract me from the grind.
Like Revenir is insane right now.
Okay, yeah. TORAM NPCs made my
It's literally three Revenirs a pop to kill most bosses. Come on, guys. How do we not see it? How do we not see Revenirs catching up? And then, like, again, Revenir is just gonna be the king at like really low HP bosses, 10 million or lower HP bosses. It's gonna be the king. You're not gonna beat Revenir there. You might if you're two-hand, but you're probably not. Damn, a 2-hour stream. This is gonna suck to edit into a video, but yeah, I kind of like this tier list. Also, I'll probably make another video using every single class in the game. Let me see. I'll probably make another video doing that because let me just do it in this one. Hold up. I have two different browsers open. I can just do it in this one. I'll probably make another video using every single class in the game, like I did. Like I did 3 months ago, and it's gonna be in the order of, you know, the best for that fast kill. Obviously, if I did this same video like a boss like Chrismort, it'll look way different. And if I did this same video like in Guild Raid, I do want to do this in Guild Raid too. I had to join enough Guild Raids to do this. So that's gonna take a while to do.
Hey. Trick Wing on the track. Okay.
But yeah.
This is the TORAM online song.
How to Reveneer on Guild Raid. Oh dude, you must not know Billy.
All these TORAM online NPCs.
Also, something to keep in mind, Guild Raid, it doesn't have the ultimate mode cooldown for ailments. It has the normal cooldown.
Yeah, yeah.
In case you didn't know, the cooldown on ailments is based on the difficulty of the boss, but
To me, but you can get
it doesn't have the ultimate mode cooldown. It just has the normal cooldown.
on me 'cause I got a lot of experience.
So Reveneer would still be pretty good in Raid.
Waste my time. You ain't worth a dime. We stay on that grind. Pipe gang plus cess on that goddess P.
When I tell you, you can literally immobilize those Guild Raid bosses with Flinch Tumble Stun. Like, you literally can. Like, you can completely turn them off. Like, you can make them... What's the word? You can disable them.
Alright, tag me in, my brother. You know I'm coming with you, fingers.
Man, honestly, I feel like if stuff like Guild Raid were in the base game, like if you weren't required to be in like a guild to do guild raids, if they just made like a seasonal raid and took the guild raid bosses, copied those to seasonal raids, added like I've like repeated this idea multiple times, but they could just like make it literally a seasonal raid, like the White Whale, you know, have it function like that, where you don't have to join a party. It'll still give you the same amount of players, and then they could also just like, I don't know, add a reward system, make an exchange event for it or something. Let me turn the music off here, because we're done with the music. It's kind of overlapping with itself. But yeah, now Reveneer doesn't have a big fall off in long content. I'd say Reveneer, like it's about as good as like Halberd and Two Hand in longer content. It's better for the most part in other content though. Reveneer only really kind of sucks to use if, you know, if your tank doesn't speak your language, or if your tank just is one of those hard-headed tanks that just refuses to like listen. But I feel like a lot of classes, well, every class can be like that. It's just annoying to play if your tank is hard-headed. So, anyways, I'm starting to wrap this stream up. In a moment, anything you guys want me to like react to on stream, like TORAM wise. Unfortunately, we won't be playing in this stream, but yeah, Reveneer can also be stacked by killing the mobs, but I don't think you'll need to. Because again, your flinch tumble stun duration is gonna be like really... You get the normal mode duration in Raid, so by the time you need stacks again, like you will have flinch again, you'll have tumble again, you'll have stun again. Yeah, I like this. And it's not like you can't just use like Lunar Slash or Meteor Breaker after you run out of Reveneer stacks if like your stuff is still on cooldown. They'll obviously be they'll obviously be less damage, but like they won't suck. Some of the bosses have it to give Reveneer a chance. Yeah. Most of the time, that's just a buff to, like, I don't know, Bogon, no. because Vanquisher is just gonna, it's gonna, like, we're getting the Otsukimi, I don't know how to pronounce it, Otsukimi event, like, really soon, actually. I think this month we're getting it back. So Devil Dango is gonna return. You know, the best class to farm Devil Dango is like dual swords and bowgun, so, you know. But yeah, I thought I was gonna need like this stuff to like show the classes, but I honestly think I was able to just explain it without using these videos, honestly. By the way, Cass, what's your opinion on the new Knuckles that were released? Is it worth getting? They have 0 stability, and they get 80% stability with sub shield. And let me actually look at this full stat. Let me pull that up. But to make a long story short, I don't think they're really worth it. Like, there's no harm in getting them, but 0 stability. The use cases that you would possibly use that for, I'm positive the other NPC Knuckles are like a lot better. Where's the Knuckles at? Here they are. Okay. So, you get the attack up from strength, 200%. So you probably, like, if you go main strength, you're probably gonna get about 1,000 attack from that. And then if you go sub agility, you'll get a lot of attack from that as well. It's just, I don't know. Yeah, the stability problem is like the big thing, and then you only get that attack up with heavy armor. You probably, like, if you go main strength, you're probably gonna get. What the hell? Oh, it auto played to the live stream. I was like, what the hell? Two-hand need to touch. But yeah, now these Knuckles aren't bad, but the Salmon Jerky Knuckles are better. The X Bomber Blockers are better. Just a big problem with NPC Knuckles, like I mentioned in my build video, will and has always been stability. Unless they're pushing like 90% stability or higher, they're not gonna really compete with DTE Knuckles or just player stat Knuckles in general in the stability department. And honestly, like, even in the neutral department, like, I did a calculation, like, even for neutral Knuckles, like, neutral player stat Knuckles are not that far behind NPC neutral Knuckles anymore. The weapon attack is catching up. Like, having offensive stats on your weapon matters so much more than people realize. Like, weapon attack is not gonna, like, carry a weapon. Like, I feel like the only case where that was, like, really a thing was the first release of Ferocious and DX, because they were so high above the 6th anniversary weapons. But yeah, like, DTE, just weapon multipliers in general matter a lot. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up this stream. I appreciate everyone that joined in, you know. Big shout out to everybody that joined me. And I'll probably try to live stream more. I work a lot, so I'll try to push for a live stream next Friday. You like Salmon, AMPR's Beast. Oh yeah, I was able to remedy that though with DTE. AMPR is a very easy remedy on Knuckles compared to like other classes, so. But yeah, anyways, you guys take care.